Notes. Ab Sunukwa. Hello, I'm called Ab. Welcome to another edition of the islak live stream on this day, Friday, October 20th, 2023. I'm going to switch to the title page for today's broadcast, or the thumbnail. This will show up on the YouTube channel. I'll change this to the thumbnail. I'll change the thumbnail to this later on. I wanted to go right into something here. I'm just going to turn on my camera for a little bit. So this is the PDF. My camera's blocking a little bit of the screen, but I'll turn the camera off a little bit later. But last week I talked about, introduced a word, heitzak. That's the way they say it. We say heitzak. But I talked about the symbols that they use in Bella Bella for their language, their dialect. And I just wanted to show you some of the variations on that symbol. So I'll turn off my camera here. And it turns out that they actually do use this one here. And this is the same symbol that we use in the Haida language for the hybrid orthography. So it's a lowercase l, and it has a wavy line going through it. This wavy line is called a tilde. So when they're combined, they form what's called a tilted L. And it sounds like so that's what you hear in the word heitzach. Heitzach. I thought maybe it might have been this symbol. This is basically the same symbol. You have a lowercase l. It has a line going through it, but it's kind of slanted. This is called a barred L. That's initially what I thought they were actually using in Heitzakwala, but they're actually using this one. It was difficult for me to tell because I couldn't zoom in. But after doing some research, it turns out that it is actually this one here, and this is the same symbol that we use here for the Haida hybrid orthography. So it's not this one here. You might also see some other dialects where they use this symbol, which is also called a barred L. Lowercase l, but it has a straight line going through the middle. You might see this one, same symbol, but it has a slanted line going through the middle. You might see this variation here, which has a loop going through it. So this is sometimes called a looped L or a belted L. And I've even seen this symbol in Tanacha. And it's basically a straight line with two bars going through it. Regardless of what symbol is being used, they all make the same sound. They make the sound. So I'm going to switch back to my camera here. So if you think of the word math, to pay attention to what's happening with your tongue when you say math. That sound is made by, it's mostly shaped by your tongue. If you take that sound, pay attention to what's happening with your tongue. Take a look at what's happening when I say math. What you can do is you can make that sound and then pull your tongue back and kind of curl it up. So if you go math, watch what my tongue is doing. Math. so I just saw some spit fly out of my mouth. That's how I know I'm saying it right. Math. Math. It's a bit of a challenge to get the hang of making that sound because there's no English equivalent for that sound. The closest is that voiceless TH sound, and it's close, but it's not the same. So it might help if you think of English words that have a sound in them and change the placement of your tongue. So instead of your tongue being kind of flat like this, kind of curl it up and pull it back. So when you're making a sound, your tongue is kind of laying flat and it's forward in your mouth. But when you make the your tongue is curling up and pulling back. So your tongue should be touching the little bump that you have behind your upper front teeth. That's called the alveolar ridge. And it should kind of look like that. Math. 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 So that's something you could try to start getting used to making that sound. Again, it is a bit of a challenge because it's a very unique sound. There's nothing like it in the English language. The voiceless TH sound comes close, but it's not the same. And it mostly has to do with your tongue placement and also how much air you're pushing out. So when you make a sound, you're kind of gently blowing air out, whereas with the sound, you're forcing the air out. So it's coming out harder. You're kind of pushing harder. You should actually feel it in your tummy. Your tummy should actually kind of be bulging out a little bit because you're pushing the air up from there. So I have my hand on my tummy, and I'm feeling it kind of being pushed out by my tummy when I'm making the sound. So I thought I'd share that with you. I'm hoping that helps because I know people do find it a little difficult to make that sound. So these are tips and tricks that you can use to get better at producing that sound. I do hear some people make kind of more of a sound, but that's not quite the same. That's more of an X or an X bar sound. So it's not a sound, it's more of a sound. So hopefully that helps you understand how the sound is actually being made, how it's produced. And with that, I'm going to switch to my PDF program. Well, actually, I was just there. I'm going to switch to my Word program, actually. So I'm going to jump into the regular features of the broadcast. So first of all, we have how do you say it? I picked two words that sound the same, and I want you to pay close attention to how I'm saying these words. So the first one is sagwum. Sagwum. So sometimes people miss this gwa sound in the middle. It can be very easy to miss it. If you're paying attention, you should hear it when a fluent speaker, an elder, is saying sagwum. Sagwum. And that is the Isla word for seal. Sagwum. The next word is sagwan. 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 And that is the word for grass, like on your lawn, the kind of grass that grows on your lawn or wild grass. That is sagwan. And that's it for how do you say it for this week. Next we have wow, the word of the week, which is libayu. Li, you have an L and an I. I, more often than not, sounds like E. So L-I says li. Ba, B-A, ba. And then Y and U sound like U. Li, ba, you. Li, ba, you. And this A has an accent mark on it. It's called an acute accent. And this tells us where we're placing emphasis in the word. There's 3 syllables, li, ba, you. So since the acute accent is on this A, this tells us we're placing emphasis on this middle syllable here. Li, ba, you. And this is the Isla word for gambling sticks, also sometimes known as native dice. So this comes down to the fact that in the old days, there used to be gambling games that would take place. And I think I'm going to turn my camera on here, which I have to think, okay, this one. So there is a game called Lahal. And what happens is that you have 2 teams. There's sticks that are involved, and one side will have sticks. They'll have one in each hand, or bones. So one bone is marked. It has like a line on it. And the other bone is not. It's just plain. So someone from the other side, the other team, has to guess which hand the person has the marked bone in. That's lahal. And the sticks that they're used in the Haisla language are called libayu. So that is wow, the word of the week. So I'll switch back to my webcam here. So that's it for today's show. Thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful and you learned a few things. I'm always learning things about the language. I didn't know that we had a word for gambling sticks used in that Lahal game, but now I do. So we're all learning together here. And again, thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, remember, learning is its own reward. Exquiguelas. Wah.